Today, we're jumping into one of the most incredible comeback stories in history. It's about a kingdom that was this close to being wiped out and the one man who managed to save it against all odds.
All right, so picture this. The year is 878. It's the middle of winter, it is bleak, it is freezing, and for the Anglo Saxons, things are about to go from really, really bad to catastrophic. And I'm not being dramatic here. We're talking about everything. The language, the laws, their whole way of life, the very idea of an English people. It's all just hanging by a thread. One more push, and it's gone. Forever.
So that brings us to the big question, right? How on earth did one man, a king on the run, literally hiding out in a swamp, manage to turn all of this around? How did he pull off a victory that would basically create a nation?
Okay, so before we get to Alfred's genius plan, we have to understand just how bad the situation was. And it all comes down to the Vikings.
See, for years, this huge Viking force, called the Great Heathen Army, had just been rolling through Anglo Saxon England. They were an absolute buzzsaw. Northumbria, gone. East Anglia, conquered. Mercia, fallen. By the time we get to our story, there's only one kingdom left. Just one. Wessex. It's the last man standing. And here's why they were losing so badly. It was a total mismatch. Think of it like a pro football team playing against a high school team. The Vikings, they were the pros. They were fast, they were mobile, and fighting was their full-time job. Their whole strategy was based on lightning-fast surprise raids. The Saxons, on the other hand, their army, called the Fyrd, was basically made up of farmers. They were tough, for sure, and they were defending their homes, but they were part-timers. Slow, defensive. By the time they even got organized, the Vikings had already raided and were long gone. But this is where everything changes. Because when faced with total annihilation, Alfred does something incredible. He doesn't just think about how to win the next battle, no, he decides to completely re-engineer his entire kingdom for war. I mean, you have to appreciate how bad things got. After a devastating surprise attack, Alfred is literally a king on the run. He's got no army, no kingdom, just a few loyal guys hiding out with him in the swamps of Athelney. But it's right there at his absolute rock bottom that he has this moment of clarity. He realizes he can't just keep fighting the old way. He has to change the entire game.
And his plan is brilliant because it's not just one thing. It's a three-pronged strategy, a total system designed to hit the Vikings where it hurts. First, a network of forts. Second, a totally reorganized army. And third, a brand new navy. So let's break that down. First, the forts. The Saxons called them burhs, and this was an absolute game changer. The idea was to build a whole network of these fortified towns all across Wessex. They were placed so cleverly that no matter where you are, you were never more than a day's march away from safety. You see what this does? It completely neutralizes the Vikings' biggest advantage, their speed. Suddenly, they can't just hit and run. There's always a garrison of soldiers nearby ready to come after them. Okay, part 2, the army itself. Alfred had a problem. His soldiers were farmers, right? They couldn't stay on campaign forever. They had to go home and tend their crops. So he came up with a simple but revolutionary solution. He split the army in two. One half would be out in the field fighting, while the other half was at home farming. Then they'd switch. For the first time ever, this gave him a permanent, professional-style army that could stay on the move all year round, supplied by those new burhs. And then there's the final piece of the puzzle, the navy. This was so forward-thinking. Alfred figured, why wait for the Vikings to land? Why not meet them at sea? So he ordered the construction of a whole new fleet of ships. And get this, they were bigger, faster, and built specifically to take on Viking longships. He was taking the fight to them, playing offense instead of just defense. So Alfred's got the plan, he's got the strategy. Now it's time to put it all to the test. Everything is riding on this. The entire future of England is about to be decided. And just look at how fast the tables turn. In the dead of winter, he's a wanted man hiding in a swamp. A few months later, it's spring, and he comes riding out, sending the call to arms. The men of Wessex rally to him. And in May, it all comes to a head. The showdown is at a place called Edington. This was it. This was the big one. Alfred's new-look army locks together, forming this giant, unbreakable shield wall. And for hours, they just take everything the Vikings can throw at them. And then they push back. And it's not just a win.
It's a total, crushing victory. The great heathen army is broken. Their leader, Guthrum, is completely defeated. But, the Battle of Edington wasn't the end of the story. In a way, it was just the beginning. This victory proved that Alfred's system worked, and it laid the groundwork for England itself. And that's his real legacy, isn't it? This whole system, the forts, the rotating army, it became a shield for England. It did more than just win a war. It created a safe zone where the Anglo Saxon language, their laws, their culture, all of it, could survive and flourish. It's pretty clear that without this shield, the England we know today just wouldn't be a thing.
And we actually get a peek inside his own head from his own writings. He said he wanted to live worthily and leave behind the memory of him in good works. That tells you everything. He wasn't just some warlord trying to grab power. He was thinking bigger. He was thinking about his legacy, about building something that would last. The military stuff was just one piece of that.
Which really brings us back to the big final question. Everything Alfred did was born out of pure desperation, a response to this incredible crisis. But what he built ended up lasting for centuries. He didn't just save his little kingdom of Wessex. He literally created the blueprint for what would become England. And it really makes you think,